Sonia, and I want to welcome you to Inspiration in a Nutshell. This video is all about inspiring you with simple things in life so you can feel better. These things inspire me, so I wanted to share with you. So, one of the things I wanted to talk about today was perfection. And I want to share with you that, you really don't have to be perfect because honestly, it's a lot of work. And we often sometimes feel like we have to be perfect, maybe in the way we dress, the way we behave, certain things in life, we feel like we have to do it a certain way. But a lot of time, it stresses us out. And does it really, really worth it? Does it make you feel happier? Does it make you feel better when you're trying to be super perfect? If you have to ask yourself that question, does all this working towards making something make it perfect? Most of the time, you'll probably say no. And look at that. The slide just went to another slide without me making it happen. So that wasn't perfect, but hey, I'm going to roll with it. So I want to tell you a story about Julia Child. I love her. I'm not a really great cook, but actually I just love watching her show. And so, when she first fell in love with French cooking and France and the French culture, she was, in her middle-aged. And she really didn't know much about French culture or language or cooking, but she just loved the food. And so she decided to take cooking classes and French classes and learn as much as she could. And if you look at how she went on her journey, she wrote this amazing big book of all these amazing recipes. She made a lot of mistakes. She made so many versions of one dish so many different times, just trying to make it good. And she failed a lot of times until she thought it tasted good. And then she put that recipe in her book. But if you look at her videos when she used to cook, you will see that she made a lot of mistakes on TV. She burned stuff, chicken fell on the floor, all kinds of stuff. But look at where she ended up. She became a successful television cooking personality and just charmed people with who she was and how she approached life. And she didn't approach life with perfection. She approached life with joy, with curiosity, and she really was excited about food and how it tasted. And that's what came across. Not how perfectly she cooked something. And so that's what I wanted to share with you today, that perfection isn't the be-all, end-all. It's whether you actually enjoy something and whether you actually get energy from it. And you get more and more energy when you do something. And the more you do that, the less perfection becomes, something that's on your radar. So let's take a look at these two sculptures. Since, we talked about Julia Child and cooking is really creative. Well, so is art. It's creative. And creativity is actually not perfect. But if you look at this sculpture on the left, it's a sculpture of David, and it's Michelangelo's David. You'll see that it really looks perfect. I mean, the guy is well balanced, he's well proportioned, and everything seems like in alignment. It's all very, honestly, kind of boring if you look at his picture. He looks perfect. Everything. His ribs are perfect, his arms, his legs, everything is well balanced. Honestly, it looks kind of boring. But on the right, you have Rodin. He was a sculptor too. He did the sculpture called The Thinker. You've probably heard of it. But he also did this sculpture, and it looks like a guy that you would see on the street. This guy doesn't really look perfect. Look at this little knot on the top of his head. That's not very perfect. Look at the curls. One side is full, the other side is not. It's kind of straight down. Then one side here on the top is flat, the other side is a little fuller. His eyes are not exactly the same. One is slightly more open on this side compared to this side. He's not a perfect looking guy, but he looks like someone who's alive, who's authentic. Like you could actually talk to this person. Whereas on the guy on the left, he looks kind of boring, honestly, and maybe not very real. But the guy on the right looks real. looks authentic, someone you'd want to talk to, that you may have an interesting conversation with. And that's what I want to share with you, that perfection sometimes takes, the joy, the color out of life. And when you're imperfect, it can be beautiful. So this is, what I wanted to share with you, that imperfection can be beautiful, and nature is imperfect, and we are nature. We're part of nature. So Ryan Holiday said, perfectionism rarely begets perfection or even satisfaction. Most of the time, it gets you disappointment. Yeah, because we're trying so hard. And sometimes it can be really, really stressful, especially with something that you don't enjoy or you feel like you have to do. Perfectionism can be tough. So look at this little guy. If you look at yourself with the eyes of imperfection, you can be perfect. Because this guy only has one eye, and all the other guys in the back have two eyes. But somehow he's perfect to himself. If he looks at himself, he's like, hey, you know what? I'm cool just the way I am. I may not look like everybody else, but you know what? I'm good. I'm perfect just the way I am, because I'm not perfect. Every nuance of everything in life you can find beauty in. So Jeff Bridges, that actor, he said, imperfection and perfection go so hand in hand, and our dark and our light are also intertwined. So by trying to push the darkness or the so-called negative aspects of our life to the side, we're preventing ourselves from the fullness of life. And that's what I'm saying about perfection. When you try really hard to make something perfect, once again, these slides move up and down before I tell it to, you kind of like miss out on the beauty, the aliveness of life. And that's what I want to get across to you. When you feel alive, when you feel good, and you're not trying so hard, then the fullness of life kind of feels amazing. And do you really need to be perfect? So let's take a look at nature. I said nature is not perfect, but it's still beautiful. And here is a picture of some flowers. And let's take a look at this flower here on the bottom right. So you see all of the petals are not exactly perfect. They're not alike. A couple of these petals here are misshaped and it looks like they're torn. This petal here has some stuff here at the edges. This one up here has a blemish of some kind. They're not all spaced out the same, but somehow when you just look at it, it looks pretty good. And even these other flowers are not perfect. They're not exactly alike, and it's okay, because the variety makes it unique and different and full of life. And that's what I want to share with you, that if you focus less on perfection and just enjoying what you're doing and the beauty of having that experience, then you feel more alive. Then you feel like, you know what? It's all okay. So today what I'd like you to do is look at the perceived imperfections that you may think you have and say to yourself, what do you like about that imperfection? How has it helped you? What if it made you special and unique? Like that guy who had one eye. What if it made him special and unique? Yeah, maybe people look at him differently. But what if, he looks at the world differently, and somehow, he came here to look at the world differently so we could see it differently. So what I'd like you to do is open your eyes and see the beauty in yourself, even in things that you don't like about yourself. And here's an example here in nature. Here you have some sand, some of it is cracked. There's like some holes in the middle here with some water that has filled it up. And it's not perfect. The sand here and the and the rock is like cracks and stuff. But when you look at it all together, once again, the slides are moving without my notice. It looks good. all these little imperfections somehow come together to look good. And that's how you are. You're perfectly imperfect, exactly as you are. And you're beautiful and amazing. And the world needs to see all of your beauty, regardless of whether you think it's perfect or not. Let's take another piece of nature here. This is, wintertime is coming up. Look at these icicles. None of them are exactly the same. They're not all the same length. Some of them are long, some of them are short and stubby, some of them are super tiny, and some of them are thick, and some of them are thin here. And it doesn't matter because somehow the whole picture, once again, the slides are moving, somehow the whole picture looks complete, because everything is irregular, but together it all works, in harmony. Even this picture of the sky, you see here that some parts are white and gray and dark, and others are yellow and white and super bright. But when you have all the different contrasts and the different colors somehow swaying and moving in different directions, it looks beautiful. It's not all monotone, not all white at the top, not all blue in the middle, and somehow it looks good. That's nature. It's imperfectly beautiful, and we are nature too, and we're imperfectly beautiful. Look at this flower. This flower looks really good. If you just look at it, you're like, yeah, pretty flower. But then the petals are, irregular. Some are close to the center, some are further away. Some of these little pink doodads are kind of in the yellow there, and some are not. But somehow, if you just look at it all at once, it looks pretty good, right? But if you broke it apart and looked at all the details, then you could nitpick it to death and may not think it's all that perfect. So you are perfect just as you are. Never let anyone tell you that you're not. So if we take a look at this picture, what do you see? You see a lot of people looking the same. They're all wearing the same clothes, looking the same. They all have to sit in these chairs. It looks kind of boring, right? It doesn't look alive. Everyone's wearing the same thing, and it's regimented. And here's some desks on the left. It looks very orderly, very perfect. And you may see this picture on the right and think, what is that? Well, that's Jean-Luc Picard in Star Trek. And he is playing a character who gets absorbed by this entity called the Borg. And the Borg likes to have everyone be the same and do the same thing and think the same thing. Look how sad he looks. This apparatus on his face basically is the Borg. He's attached to this thing that is everyone has this attachment on their face, and so everyone thinks alike, is told what to do, and everyone must act the same. And that is the Borg. And so that's the, you have to be perfect. You have to be a certain way. And, it doesn't feel very good if you just look at his face. He doesn't look too happy just trying to be perfect, like being something that you're not, right? Like these chairs. So I say to you, you are enough. You are totally enough exactly as you are. Exactly as you are. So I want to say to you, just be yourself. Let people see the real, imperfect, flawed, quirky, weird, beautiful, and magic person that you are. Because if you see yourself this way, everyone else will see you this way and accept you, because you will accept yourself. And that is the key to being imperfect, is just accepting yourself as who you are. The key thing is here, you are a person and God made you to be you. So why don't you just be you? Because everyone else is taken, and really God made you to be exactly who you are. And we're always trying to conform to be one way or the other, kind of like the Borg, or kind of like these chairs and desks. But we're different. We're flawed. We're quirky. And we should let that out. We should just be who we are. This is my effort to just be me. And that's why I started this, YouTube channel, because I just want to be me. I tend to be inspired by different things, and I just want to share what inspires me, and hopefully that, will help you. So be perfectly imperfect and relish who you are exactly as you are, because that's when you will feel most alive and most happy and most joyful. So be beautiful. Be you, because that's what the world needs. Everyone else is taken. So I want to wish you peace, love, and joy. And this is brought to you by Inspiration in a Nutshell. And you notice the logo on the bottom doesn't match the logo in the picture that I put at the beginning because I forgot to do it. I'm totally not perfect. Next time I'll remember. But, that's what Inspiration in a Nutshell is about, is to basically be inspired even if it's not perfect. So I hope this video was something that helped you, that you enjoyed the story. And, let me know in the comments what you liked about it, what you'd like to see different, what other inspiration you would like to hear about. I'd love to share with you. I'm learning as I'm going, and I just want to make it better for you so you find this enjoyable and helpful to you. So I hope you have a wonderful day, a day full of peace, love, and joy. Because you know what? You deserve it. No matter who you are in the world, you deserve it. All right, everybody.